Okay, and we are live. Hello and welcome to Roundtable with the Stream Team. And this is where we end up speaking to content creators about their journey and what they've been doing and how things are working out for them and, all that fun stuff. Getting to know that content creator a little more personal. And today we have our friend from Wicked Good Games, Papa Dom. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me on. Always good to be rocking with the Iron Lords podcast. And it's good. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood, another beautiful day stuck inside. So
Stuck inside, seeing the amazing four walls that are around you. It's great.
Mhm.
Well, thank you very much for taking your time, to come and spend some time with us. So we have our other two amazing panelists today. We have MJ is a boss. What's going on, MJ? How are you?
Good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing well. I had to go into the office today, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But at least the commute is still awesome. I will take a 45-minute commute over an hour and 45 minutes any day of the week. So
Yeah.
it is good. It is good as well. How are you? How is classes for you? Classes still rolling?
2 weeks. Then I'm done.
2 weeks he's done counting down.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man, I remember those days counting down, crossing the
Show's
fingers.
over.
Exactly. Well, thank you for being able to come today. And we have L Boogie 0208. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How's your week been so far?
It's okay so far. We're getting close to the end of our sprint and release, so uh, lots of moving parts at work, but that's it.
Oh well. Thank you. I know you're very busy, and I greatly appreciate you being able to come and sit on the panel and
Yeah.
hang out. I want to also say hello to Chris, who's been sitting in chat under the Wiki Good Gaming tab. What's going on, man? We will be seeing you in a couple of weeks, also. Hopefully, fingers crossed, with some timing. And everyone knows myself. It is Snaldo here. Me just hanging out, chilling. But we are all here for one reason and one reason alone, and that is Papa Dom. So why don't you go ahead and tell us your thoughts and journeys on being a content creator. And we like we were discussing before, we are doing a little expose, if you will, on the Wicked Good Gaming crew. So we're gonna be having you, Chris, and Dr. Bob all, and then we're gonna have all you guys one time at the end. So
Yeah.
we'll hear the full Wicked Good Gaming background. So which is very exciting. So go ahead and tell us about yourself and why you were doing everything.
Sure, yeah. So if you don't know me, my handle go by Papa Dom, or just Dom is totally fine. Uncle Dommy, it depends on who you ask. You can find us over at wickedgoodgaming.com. Not Another Gaming Podcast is available everywhere you get fine, curated, handcrafted podcasts. The real top shelf stuff. You might have seen me probably on the podcast. You might see me on our Twitch page on YouTube. We do some YouTube videos here and there. We kind of cover a little bit of everything. So it's kind of weird because whenever we get this year at PAX, for example, just to kind of put it into perspective, we got assigned these content creator badges instead of just the regular media.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because I've kind of never really thought of us as either of those. I'd consider us more like personalities or just more like regular guys. And that's kind of the way that, yeah. Right. Yeah, we definitely have some. And that's kind of the way that I've always thought about it. As for me personally, I've actually been writing about games for, I want to say, we're coming up on, it's got to be 7 or 8 years at this point. I initially started writing about, I've been to every PAX East, and around the first one, I met the people from Rebel Gaming, Steph and Rob, who run Rebel Gaming. They had me write some blogs for them. I was in college at the time, and I didn't really keep up with it as much, but I, started up a kind of a social media persona, and obviously having a bit of a profile with blogs and things like that. I didn't really stream much. Streaming has never been my thing, but couple, one, two, skip a few. I end up kind of linking up with Chris and Rob, who are some hometown buddies of mine. We've known each other for years, and we all like video games. So we kind of just ended up finding out that, whenever we get together, we have a couple beers, we end up talking about games. We're like, let's put it down on wax. Let's start recording it. So initially the idea was man, we should start a podcast. Me and Bob started talking about this. We've played Dungeons and Dragons every Monday for the last 5 years with the same group of guys. So me and Bob were talking about like, what if we did a podcast? Like, what if would people listen to it? And my initial thought was no, nobody would listen to it because they have no fucking idea who we are. So the idea was to start the website first, start Wicked Good Gaming. And so I looped in Chris, who him and I had just become coworkers actually, but obviously we've known each other forever. I knew he knew how to build websites, and so I had looped him in there to provide, that part of the expertise and to, obviously to be a contributor as well. And then all of our roles have kind of evolved over the years. So for the majority of Not Another Gaming Podcast, I've been the primary host. I've done the majority of the guest outreach and also all of the design for the website. Bob is our primary streamer and video content creator. He does an awesome job with our YouTube page. He's been really building that out over the last couple of months, and he's been actually stepping up his editing game up a lot more too. So that's been really cool to see. And then Chris is primarily the social guy. So he's completely built out our socials from the ground up. From absolute dog shit, nothing. And oh wait, am I allowed to swear on this one? I couldn't swear on the Iron Lords podcast. I swear on this one.
It's okay. We let it go. So don't be like a sailor that's just gonna go off for 20 minutes. On
all right, I completely forgot about that because I definitely swore in the first literal millisecond of my episode of being on the Iron Lords podcast. So I just didn't want to like mess up your clean tag on here.
No, it's fine. So like I said, as long as you're not going off for 20 minutes with curse words, we're perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, it's all right. We do that on our show. We do that on our show, Not Another Gaming Podcast, every Thursday at twitch.tv/Wicked Good Gaming. But
shameless
plug. So we all have. Oh no, there's no shame here. So we all kind of have our different pillars that we take care of, but all of us have one focused goal, and that's just kind of like take the brand to the moon. You know what I mean? Like we've built an awesome community in our Discord. Shout out to everybody in the Discord, and I'm really proud of the people that we've brought together. We've done multiple like in-person meetups too, through whether it was PAX East or we just got a bunch of local people together at like a brewery. And it's just been kind of crazy to see like people that we would otherwise never have met come together just through video games. So yeah, I mean, in a roundabout way, we are content creators, but we're just kind of like regular guys. And that's the vibe that we try to bring to every episode of the show, is just like being genuine, being like, your buddies that you meet up with for a couple drinks to talk about games and just talk shop. And, we keep things light, we keep things casual, and we keep things genuine. So that's us. Yeah,
it's kind of funny because the way we met was, we kind of met briefly in passing in PAX. Like, I think on the show floor, we ended up just like meeting each other because the way the teams worked was I was with Cog, and you guys do stuff very vastly different than we do. Like, we do everything with video, with the interviews and things like that. And then like we just happened to pass, and you told us on Thursday night, and you were like, "Hey, we're doing a podcast. You guys should just come on in." And I like pretty much just walked in, and I know that you and the guys were like, "Who is this guy? We have no idea who he was." You had to do my intro off the spot, and you guys were amazing.
Killed that though.
Was that?
I killed that though.
You did kill that. You did an amazing job. It was like literally right off the cuff, and you guys like made it very, very warm and very like inviting to a person who has never ever been. Kind of met you guys, and it was nice, and I wanted to say thank you for that.
Yeah, that's how we are, dude. It's I mean, you saw me. I was like, dude, get in here, like get on this episode of the show. We're just gonna start recording it. I saw Dave in the hallway, and I was like, get in here, we're gonna start recording.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. I would have brought one of the janitors in from outside to start. And the guys behind the hot dog stands.
the guy in the boom boom room in the corner.
Yeah.
The thing is that was probably one of the funnest episodes I've ever been part of, like, period, because it was just us just messing around and goofing off, and you guys didn't even have liquor in you, which is like which is like one of your kind of like one of the staples of your shows, if you will.
That's true. Yeah, you got to see that side of us later that evening, though.
oh yes, we did, and that was a lot of fun. It was really good. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Papa Dom? Like, now you have the show. Many people know, you've gone through, you're married with a wife and everything like that. And, how does she feel that, because you guys have been together for how long now? for a
Long
while.
time.
Long time.
A
So
long
like,
time.
so when you told her, "Hey, we're going to be ending up doing this this website and this, we're going to start doing these podcasts and things like that," what was her reaction when you decided to do that?
Yeah. So, I mean, in general, I think that we've always supported each other's like passion projects and hobbies and stuff like that. And before we even like moved in together, we were already like workshopping the idea to start
Mm-hmm.
the show. She knows Chris and Rob really well. They were groomsmen in my wedding. I mean, they're really
Mm-hmm.
close personal friends. So it's not like it's not like she doesn't know who's involved with
Mm-hmm.
the whole program. So she's been really supportive of it. And I also, I mean, I was a big video game guy. I've been a big, video game guy for my entire life. So this is nothing like out of the ordinary. This is nothing that's like surprising or
Mm-hmm.
shocking in any way. Because it's just like, yeah, I'm going to go talk about games on the internet with my friends for a little bit. And, I like to think that I do a good job of balancing my time with kind of all aspects of life. I mean, with the 9 to 5, with the, the show, the brand, with
Mm-hmm.
her, with the social life, it's all that stuff is really important. And
Right.
what I told Chris and Rob from day one was, if we're going to do this, we need to do it consistently. We need to do it every week, same time, same, episode length. And, we can innovate. We can do it
Mm-hmm.
longer. We could kind of like mess around with that, but we need to have a foundation that people can rely on. And that's actually helped me to help balance out everything else around the show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like, now it's just a part of my weekly routine, which is like, hey, every Thursday night for an hour and change, I'm going to go bullshit with the guys on the internet for a little bit. I'll be back. You know what I mean? And I think she usually watches Grey's Anatomy or something like that during that time. So, but we do game together once in a while. So that's always fun. But yeah, she's accidentally walked into a couple of episodes. If you watch any of us, that's always cool,
that's always funny when she's just like, "What are you people talking about?" I don't
yeah,
know.
right. I think she gets it by now.
Yes. You said that you game a lot. So what is your gaming preference? Because I can tell you right now, and I know L and MJ will love this one. You are obsessed with Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I'm a big Animal Crossing guy. Everybody knows that. I'm hitting the stock market hard. I've crossed the 10 million bell mark on the stock market with New Horizons already. So, I'm grinding. I've built out quite the bell turnip empire over on Rangoon Island. And you can read the column on wickedgoodgaming.com called Mad Bells, where I walk you through different strategies on how to maximize your income in New Horizons. You can check that out. It's a weekly column. We do the new edition of that. It's probably going to go up tomorrow. And we just kind of talk about the ups and downs of the stock market. But I like everything, man. I am like an equal opportunity gamer. You know what I mean? And I will play racing games, fighting games, sports game, whatever it is. I'm a big role-playing game guy. I like to really sink my teeth into one thing and like latch onto it for 100 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that I can like soak up the lore with it. I mean, I've been a big Warcraft guy since WoW launched in 2004. That was like freshman year of high school for me. So all my buddies were playing it, and we dug into that like crazy. So I've been playing WoW. Play? Yeah, I still play.
All right, we'll have to talk afterwards.
Yeah, it's been off and on. It's mostly off right now. I'm playing ESO right now, which I really like. I think ESO is fantastic. Destiny. I mean, I'm not. I can't even scratch the surface with Destiny with you guys. I know this is a big Destiny network, but Destiny is also a game that I've spent a ton of time with. The whole Elder Scrolls series. Yeah, so I mean, and I'm a big Nintendo guy too. I'm probably our biggest Nintendo guy at WGG. Yeah. So anything Nintendo too, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah. So mostly Martine. How you doing, man? Just saw him saying what's going on. So the other thing about it is like ESO for me. Like I saw ESO and I was like, I want to fight a dragon. I literally logged in, did the entrance to the game. I popped out of the other side. I saw a dragon. I killed the dragon. I was like, I am done. I never logged back in. It was like I bought the game for about like an hour's worth of time. And it's like one of those things I want to go back and I want to play it because I know that there's so much content. And it's so good. And it's so worth it. So,
Yeah, it's pretty good. The new episode, or I'm sorry, the new chapter that was implemented, the whole Elsewhere chapter where they implemented the dragons back into the game is awesome. Now they got the whole Dark Heart of Skyrim expansion going on right now, which is dope. Also, I didn't realize when you called out the chat, I had my thing set to top chat and it showed me no messages. Then I switched to live and realized that I missed like 20 messages. So shout out to JB, shout out to Steve, shout out to Florida Man Fred, and shout out to Chris, who are also in here chilling.
It's just Chris. It's okay. No. So like you were saying with Animal Crossing. Now, Elle, you could probably talk about this more than me. Like, what is your intrigue and love and for playing that, or is it just one of those things that it's like a hot thing for you right now? Dom?
Were you talking to me? I thought you said Elle.
No. I was just saying that she could probably talk about it a little more.
Oh, I thought you were asking her.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was getting ready for a question, and I'm like, all right, well then it's not for me.
Well, it was kind of like I had a question, right, for Dom. What is your intrigue about the game that can kind of like that you can, why you're so intrigued and pulled by it? And I was hoping Elle can kind of answer it because I don't own a Switch. And I don't play Animal Crossing. So
remember, I told you it's like along the same lines as like The Sims and stuff like that. You know, it's just like one of those games that you can just kind of zone out to.
Yeah, it's relaxing. You know what I mean? I think it's a nice little stress reliever. Yeah. You know, it's one of those games that like there's like never really. I feel like there's never like a bad day when you're playing that game. Like you can pick up COD or you can pick up Apex or you can pick up whatever and have a couple shitty games, and that could be like a day ruiner. You know what I mean? You rage quit. I was playing Fallout 76 earlier, and I like couldn't get out of my own way. Lost a bunch of shit and quit. I just swore again. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But I was like, I can't. This is a mood ruiner. Pick up Animal Crossing. There's no such thing as a bad session when you play that game. I've been playing those games since GameCube. I mean, since the original one. I mean, Animal Crossing is awesome. I mean, it was a game that I played with my siblings a lot growing up. The first one came out when I was like 10. I played the one on 3DS as well. I never got into Pocket Camp. I didn't have a Wii U, so I didn't play. What was the one on Wii U? Wild World, I think. But New Horizons is awesome. I mean, it's a long-awaited return for me. Just it's a casual, relaxing game, and Elle kind of hit the nail on the head. I usually tell people it's like The Sims, except all your neighbors are animals. And, you know, you can craft stuff, you can kind of like customize things, and you can take it at your own pace. You could log in, go and pick flowers and weeds or something for 35 minutes and fish for a little bit, get nothing done in the game and still feel pretty good. Or you could go and, like I did today, which was go out of your way to find an island that is buying turnips at a really high rate, thanks to Discord and Twitter, and sell them for 10 times the profit, make 4 million bells in one sitting, feel like you're breaking the game, get like that endorphin rush that goes absolutely crazy when you go and you stick it to that raccoon who's got you 10 million bells in debt from the start of the game. Yeah. And it's just nothing better. There's that absolute swindler, Tom Nook. And I mean, the guy thinks he's got you over a barrel from the first time that you open up the game until you flip it on him. Yeah, until you listen. You say, listen, you didn't know that I was the turnip game's Walter White, and I'm over here moving insane amounts of turnips. And
I keep forgetting to like go buy turnips, and it's really bad.
Oh yeah.
Because like I was doing it like for a good couple of weeks, and I haven't really been like playing it, but yeah, I was finding the money islands. The only island I didn't find is the tarantula island.
Every time I find a tarantula, I scream. Like
they come at you. Like it's surprising the very first time you're like, fuck.
And every time you think you got one too, they
I've gotten pretty good. You got to sneak up on them.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's one of those things. I mean, Animal Crossing, we were talking about it when we did our episode of the show with you and the other guys. It's one of those games where if you don't get it, like, I can't blame you. But, like, everybody should give it a try. Even if you don't play games, you should give it a try, see if you like it. It's relaxing. It's like a good little kind of palate cleanser. And it's so different than everything else out there. I know a lot of people like Stardew Valley or like Harvest Moon and stuff like that, and it's kind of similar to that. It's a little less intense, I know Stardew Valley is like famously pretty unforgiving in certain ways, and I think Harvest Moon is a lot more challenging too. I've never really dug into it, but it has a kind of a similar vibe to those games as well.
If you want to see one of the funniest videos ever, and if Chris is hearing me right now, it was when he yelled at Tom Nook and called him a crook while at PAX East. And you instantly, when you see him scream it, you see all the Nintendo people just snap their heads, looking right at Chris in the camera. Like, did this guy just really yell at Tom Nook and tell him he's a crook? Like, that was like one of those things that I was dying.
The Nintendo employees that were the Nintendo employees that were standing there, or like the poor people that were just like working the booth, were like, what is going on right now? We're gonna have to call security and detain this kid. But yeah, no, it was PAX was something else.
That was a blast. That was a really good blast. Excuse me. So something I did notice with you was you did start doing a little streaming, because I did see you do a little streaming of what's called Magic.
Yeah.
So
yeah, MTG Arena. I streamed it a couple times recently.
Yeah. So how do you feel that is a little different than you having to do your podcast? Like,
honestly, and I've told the guys this too. Like, I think Chris kind of feels similarly to me in this regard, where like I don't love streaming just because I don't like being on stage all the time. I feel like when we do the podcast, I know exactly what I need to do. You know, I very rarely turn this off, but like I also don't like being on stage. Like when I sit and I'm like playing anything, like I'm usually like this, like all the way down in my chair, like, and I look like I could fall asleep at any second because my brain is basically off. But then I don't mind engaging with people, but I do feel bad if I for some reason like miss looking at the chat for a minute, or if things don't look right or whatever, and then I like my eyes drift over to the screen, like looking at myself, and I realize that like my like jaw has been hanging open, and I'm just like look like I'm catching flies there, not even paying attention. You know what I mean? So for me, like I have no problem gaming with people and talking to them at the same time. It's just like I don't know if you're getting 100% of the best of me sometimes if you're streaming. I'm just not used to doing it. So I actually used to stream a lot of Hearthstone when I used to be really big into Hearthstone. So you might be not as surprised to know that like now that I'm playing MTG Arena, like I'm streaming that again because I don't have to be doing something at every second. I was streaming WoW, and like with WoW, like I like to sit there and I like to read the quest text and I like to watch the cutscenes, and I just want to like soak in the lore, and I don't want to. I'm not there to, I don't think that's entertaining. I do not find it entertaining to watch people play WoW or ESO or whatever. I don't really find it entertaining to watch that stuff. I do think it's entertaining to watch MTG Arena. I think it's entertaining to watch Hearthstone. I actually watched a little Elder Scrolls Legends, that card game. I like watching the card games because you can kind of see what's about to happen. Same way some people might feel about watching Valorant right now, or watching Overwatch, or watching CSGO, because you can kind of anticipate the different plays that they're going to make. If I'm watching somebody play WoW and just kind of wander around, I wouldn't want to watch that. So then when I stream it, I'm like, people don't want to watch this shit. Like I'm just, so. Do
you feel like it kind of takes away from your enjoyment level of the game?
Certain games, yeah. I just like for WoW, I think that's my time. That's Papa Dom time. I need to have that time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if I'm playing Animal Crossing, if I had the capability to stream with my Switch right now, I don't have a Stream Deck, but if I did, and I would not want to play Animal Crossing and stream. I wouldn't want to do that, because then that's just like, you ever let me put it to you this way. If you're ever like playing a game and the screen goes black, and then you see your reflection in the monitor, and you see how like schlubby you look for a second, like that's how I feel when I'm streaming, and I'm like, is this what I look like right now? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just for some games, yes, Hearthstone or Magic. If I'm like taking it slow and I have people who are engaging in the chat and they're like talking and being like, "Ooh, you should play that card," or like, "What does that card do?" I don't mind talking about it. I think that's really fun. But for games like WoW, or like even like CSGO or something like that, or if I'm playing a shooter or whatever, like I like to have that. That's me. That's my time. I don't know if I want to share that with anybody. I have no problem jumping in one of our Discord chats with 15 other people and all of us talking over and through and to each other. Because I love playing games with friends, but I also just don't want to have to kind of divide my, like, do like double duty, because then I feel like I'm not doing either of them particularly well. And that's something that's just not, that's like not my brand, you know?
Right. L, do you feel kind of that similar way when you're playing games, when you're streaming?
Yeah, there's no way I'd want to stream Animal Crossing either. It's just like, right. I don't know. I mean, I see people doing it, but I don't know. I feel like I'm like you. Like, I feel like I have to pay attention to chat, and you zone out. Like, you would think you would zone out less on like a shooter, but you know, are able to take like breaks or whatever. But when you're with Animal Crossing, it's just like, I don't know, you get zoomed in.
Yeah. And I mean, I like playing what I like, and I like streaming occasionally. I'll do it like when I'm bored. If I have some time, I'll stream Arena, and I'll probably do that more often. And maybe if I can get a little bit more into it, and obviously get better at it too, because nobody wants to like watch somebody just suck.
Unless they're funny.
And that's good. Yeah, right. And that's the thing, is like, I don't know if I have the time to like, or I don't know if I have like the bandwidth to all the time like be entertaining and be good at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain people who I'll watch the gameplay just if I'm curious about it. And we've talked about this on our show a bunch of times, where it's like, I'll watch somebody stream a game before I read a review for it, because I'd rather just see how it plays. I don't really like, I think Dr. Disrespect is entertaining. And he's pretty much like on a short list of maybe people like on that I can count on one hand who I enjoy watching stream regularly, because it's like, oh, this is really fun. You know, like this is it's weird. I don't know. I think there's a big difference between, especially if you know the person that's streaming, like watching their personality on stream and then knowing how they really are. Like if you're just in like a group chat with them or like a party chat with them. And, I don't know if I don't know if I want to make people choose between those versions of me, if that makes sense.
So you feel like more like when you start streaming, you have to almost produce like a persona. Because
yes and no.
Because you want to feel like yourself, but you can't exactly be yourself, because you have to end up kind of having them see you in a certain way. Like, I hate my hair right now. Like, I want to cut my hair so bad.
Yeah, that's why I put a hat on. I was in the same boat.
Well, fellow Guidos, they got the hair that just starts throwing out eventually. So.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, this is I got a mop on my head right now, like you read about. But no, I mean, I wouldn't say that I have to like be a certain way or whatever, because people know me, like, and they wouldn't be tuning in if they didn't. And if somebody doesn't and they tune in, I would expect them to leave within 5 seconds. But yeah, I mean, I just think that for me, it's about like having the most fun. I mean, I wouldn't do the podcast if I didn't think it was fun. Like, me, Chris, and Rob have such a great like friendship and working relationship, and I think that we all genuinely enjoy doing the show. And you could tell when you listen to it. That's not always the case when I'm streaming, and I would do that if I really was like, the best thing that you could possibly do is do something you love. And I love playing video games. I do not love always constantly being on stage, because I like to have that time for myself. And I think there's people who love doing that. But I'm just not. That's not always me. Yeah. I'm like hit or miss with it. I'm hot and cold.
Yeah. Do you MJ? Do you feel like you're kind of put on a little bit of like a stage when you end up streaming, because you're coming back into the life of streaming again?
A little bit. There's sometimes where I feel like I do want to stream, and there's sometimes I'm like, I don't want to stream, and then I'd think like, who'd want to watch this game? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, you've been playing a bunch of games in your backlog. You're kind of bringing things back, because because college life. So what? No, just teasing. So what? What games have you been playing that you feel that you shouldn't have to? You don't want to stream?
A lot of Telltale games that I have.
Yeah.
It's like people wouldn't want to watch me play this. You know what I mean? People would just go to YouTube and watch some content creator that they really, really like that already have a walkthrough of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that kind of like killed you from wanting to stream that specific game, or like many different types of games?
Yeah, I think many type of games. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I didn't stream after last week, like I said I would.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. Like sometimes, like today earlier, I mean, I always do a little bit of a stream before this. I had a little bit of ISP problems, and I was just like cursing out my ISP throughout the whole entire time, and I was just like, I had to cut the stream early because of it. And I actually thought of not streaming earlier because I wanted to make sure I was ready for Papa Dom to bring him on here correctly, and have him be comfortable. So it's one of those things.
I also like so I did stream one Telltale game, and that was the Telltale Game of Thrones game, which I thought was like the biggest heap of garbage that I've ever played. I don't know if you're a big Telltale guy, MJ, but I like Telltale games.
Yeah,
I do. I really like Game of Thrones, in that whole like universe. And I don't. Did you play Telltale Game of Thrones?
I did not. No.
Okay. Well, if you feel like you really just feel like being depressed for like a real long time, play it. Because it is not good. The story, like the people that you're playing as are just pathetic, and it's like every choice that you make is just you can't win. You just can't win. And yeah, I was streaming that, and then I realized that I was like this the entire time.
Yep.
And I just couldn't. Couldn't do it.
Well, I still say the best Telltale game that was ever created was the whole entire Walking Dead series. Like, from start to finish, like,
sure,
they could have literally just did the Walking Dead series from start to finish and then called it. Because I think they started going into other games, and it was kind of started kind of depreciating their value. Because the Walking Dead was just it was so good.
Yeah, I've heard that those people really love those games, and they were really trying to get them to save that series, right? When Telltale went under,
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they got what they wanted. But
yeah,
boy, oh boy, did that Game of Thrones game stink!
I wanted to just kind of like bring it back a little bit to you about your podcast and everything, because the podcast itself for you is something that has grown, and to the point where I even listen to it on a weekly basis. I listen to a handful of podcasts every week. One of them is yours, ILP. I listen to some of L Boogie's team. So I listen to a handful of different podcasts every week. And what do you think was the number one thing that helped you to have that to grow?
You mean like what did you think is the number one thing that has helped?
What is your number one thing that you think helped your podcast to grow?
I think the number one thing is just us being genuine. I think us being genuine and us being consistent. And I would hope that anybody who's even on the outside looking in would be able to say those two things about us. We've been genuine and we've been consistent. We've never bullshitted anybody. We've never really had to like ask anybody for really anything. I mean, we've been completely genuine. We've done a really good job of reaching out to guests and having them come on the show and also be themselves. King was in like a Corvette when he was on an episode of our show live from E3, just like randomly outside with the top down. And like, that was the most authentic thing that I've ever seen. Yeah. We had Asmongold on our podcast, big WoW streamer, and we had him give us a tour of his dirty ass room while he was on the show. I was like, dude, is your room really dirty? Or is this just like a character that you play on Twitch? And he was like, no, bro, look at this. And it was disgusting. We have had developers, we've had actors, we've had streamers, we've had fellow podcasters, and we've had hometown friends who are just sitting there like smoking cigarettes in their living room surrounded by beer bottles. Shout out to Juggalo correspondent Tyler Baggs. And we treat them all the exact same way. And I think that is what makes us unique. That's what makes us who we are. And that's what makes us so consistent and genuine, is because we don't give anybody any special treatment or favor or whatever. Like, we'll roll out the red carpet, don't get me wrong. I consider myself the second best podcast introductory person, introducer, right behind Lord Cognito himself, of course. But the fact of the matter is that anybody who comes on the show, you're getting treated the same way. We treat you like one of our hometown buddies, and vice versa. And people love that. For the most part, we have never had anybody come off the show and be like, I never want to talk to you guys again, or like, that was embarrassing, or like, why would you say something like that? We had an actor on the show recently, and we actually didn't really think that I actually was a little nervous just to kind of like about his personality and whether or not it would mesh with ours. And he was a super cool guy. He like ended up being like more than happy to put up with our antics. And this was actor Daniel Roebuck, who played Grease Dreedus in Jedi Fallen Order. And like, he's a pretty straight-laced guy. He's a professional. He's been an actor for the majority of his life. He's forgotten more about acting than most people will ever learn. He's a consummate professional. And we had him in there bullshitting with us for an hour and a half on Not Another Gaming podcast, and he was more than happy to do it. And, it's stuff like that I think really sets us apart. And that's why people want to come back on. And that's why people want to come and listen. And that's why people want to hang out in the Discord and sit in a voice channel named Party Daddies and play Piccolo and drinking it with people that they've never met, is because they value that type of genuine attitude, and they value that type of authenticity, and they value that type of consistency, and that's what they get from us. So as long as we keep that up and we never let them down, and that's something that I can confidently say that we've never done, then I look forward to seeing us continue to grow.
And how long have you guys been doing the podcast on?
So the website started in 2016. So just about 4 years old. The podcast just turned 3 earlier this year.
It's crazy. And you guys added what do you call it? The daddy line? The phone line?
No, it's the WGG Internet Dad's sauce line. That is our voicemail box. So you can call the sauce line and you can leave voicemails, and we'll listen to them live and respond live on the show. And that's something that we just started doing like 10 episodes ago, not even.
And I had to call that one time and leave you a message. And
that was great.
I was doing about like 75, 80 on the highway when I was leaving that message. And like, I remember listening to it the next day, and you were just like, he's doing like $120 down the highway, leaving a voicemail for us. What is he out of his damn mind?
That's it. And that's the type of stuff that we can, like, I think that's the type of stuff that we bring out of people. You were there. We recorded an episode of the show live in some random, like, storage room at PAX East 2020 with the three of you guys and then the three of us. And we were we were the loudest people in that building by far. And God forbid we left those doors open. We would have all six of us been escorted out. And that's the type of stuff that we bring out of people. We get people to be themselves at their most animated, at their most outgoing. And, that's the type of stuff that I, that makes me like thankful that we started doing it in the first place. Cause it's just, it makes us feel good that people can be themselves like that with us.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna steal an MJ question because I know he enjoys asking these questions. When you started streaming, right, and you started doing the podcast and everything like that, what type of equipment did you start with?
Oh boy, so we started with Skype. We used Skype. All of us had like a strong 240p video output. All of us were using like headphone mics and Skype. And it sounded like hot trash, honestly. Like if you could put your ear up to like a puddle of like water that's been sitting in the bottom of a dumpster, and it's all like rusty and shit, and you just like imagine what that sounds like. That's exactly what the first couple episodes of the podcast sounded like. But now we all have mics, and we are using Discord for video. We've upgraded our audio and video considerably. And we've kind of gotten a lot more sophisticated over the years. So yeah, we sounded like we were yelling at each other through Dixie cups for the first like couple episodes, but we got better.
Now, when you guys you collectively ended up going, okay, we got to upgrade the equipment. Like the sound quality is what makes the difference. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And MJ, you kind of feel that way also when it comes to like this podcast, when it comes to streaming, comes to all that stuff.
Yeah, sometimes. Like I like the new change that we just made from the Google Hangouts to Zoom.
Yeah.
So I think it's better.
Yeah, I'm really liking this this changeover. The quality it feels a lot better, and I know that I've been pushing Cognito to change to Zoom for a while. And
What do you say?
And I kind of told him, I was like, listen, I'm doing it for Roundtable. I'm just gonna front the money, do a month of it, and see how it goes. Because I'm like, I think that you guys can kind of benefit from it. So it's kind of something that he's looking into it also. And I love Discord for voice communications with people. But like once like I tried doing the video chatting, it seems like there's some coding breakdown. So it's like one of those things that kind of like drove me a little crazy. And then like Google Hangouts, like half the time I had to have Google Hangouts on one screen and then the podcast on another one. And it was like all these settings have got to get changed. And I'm like, this drives me a little crazy. I know Elle, she has no problem when she ends up running it for the ladies podcast.
I mean, we have problems sometimes, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you.
But you know how it is. It's like we all have to be our own personal tech support people while we're ending up being everything else. So,
going back to Animal Crossing, Pete, you should start playing it.
You buying me a Switch?
No, you need to just go out and get one.
Right.
Oh, wait.
I'm not using my stimulus check on a Switch right now for Animal Crossing. You're muted, Dom.
What if I told you that one of the neighbors you can get in the game is a guinea pig?
Look.
Listen.
That's a hard.
I thought you were like the president of guinea pigs, and now you're over here saying I don't want a guinea pig as a neighbor. That's what I just heard.
Listen, I've been, believe it or not, I've been talking to people about putting them on the same list as the rabbits, like because like you know how rabbits and little tangent I'm gonna go off on. You know how rabbits you cannot find them in any pet store. Has anybody noticed that?
I don't know that, but I believe you.
So because they're under some ruling of a like protected endangered type species of like they don't want people to not endangered species, but they don't want them to be sold in pet stores because they're not properly like taken care of. And it's the same thing with guinea pigs. Like they're not properly taken care of and they're just like milled in one place and then just like distributed, where you can go to like lots of different adoption agencies. So I've actually been like talking to a whole bunch of different guinea pig group channels to see if we can actually get them under the same ruling. So like that's the type of stuff I do on the side when I'm not trying to write articles for lordsofgaming.net, stream all the time, work, not have my wife murder me because I'm always playing video games and doing stuff. And apparently I get to spend some time with my family every so often. So So yes, I try to do that, but you got to get me a picture of this guinea pig neighbor.
Okay, so I was wrong, and I mean, feel free to crucify me for this because I'm sure that I'm sure that nobody's ever done this. So there is not a specific guinea pig neighbor, but there are several hamsters.
Do you know how many times people call my guinea pigs hamsters? I want to throw them out the window.
All right, bro. Well, I mean, you could listen, there's like, hold on a second. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got like, there's like 8 hamsters. And you could just, I mean, they're cartoons though. You could just say like they're guinea pigs.
They're guinea pigs. They're fine. It's fine.
I'm going to literally Google the
all right.
There's several hamsters.
We're going to Google this. Bang. Hamsters in animal.
I got it right there. And I put the link in the chat.
My chat. Oh, this chat? Our chat?
Yeah.
Oh, wrong window.
Boom. You just pick one right there.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. I guess they do look mad different. I mean, these ones, the hamster neighbors look more like guinea pigs, though. They don't look like hamsters. Hamsters look more like rats.
I'm looking at them right now.
I'm sorry for derailing this whole episode. You can cut all this out.
No,
you can cut all this out.
It's fine.
They look more like guinea pigs, though. Tell me they don't.
Pete, do you still hate Animal Crossing?
Give me some bandwidth here, because look at this. They look more like guinea pigs than hamsters.
I believe
this one has a pig nose. Look at Graham. He's got a pig nose.
I put down hamsters in Animal Crossing New Horizons. They look weird. Oh no, those they could be made as guinea pigs.
Boom. Yeah, exactly. I can hear the Switch being shipped to your house right now.
Yes, and then you'll hear my wife smacking me in the face for buying a Switch right now as we're saving for a house. I literally when we got our checks in for the IRS, I went, what am I going to use this money for? And I was ready to buy a Switch because it was right before we were going to PAX East. And then I was like, but I could upgrade my streaming box. So I spent it all on my streaming box instead of getting a Switch.
And dude, congrats on even getting a refund check back, because I did not get one. So congrats on the wealth. Flex on me a little harder, dude.
Well, it's because I have a business, technically. Because I put all of my stuff for streaming under taxes as per Bob should be doing. He should be putting his CSGO crates under taxes as expenses. But between my wife's business and my business, we ended up getting money back. So that's the only reason why. And we got our stimulus check in the mail over the weekend, which is nice. But
in the mail?
Well, it was online.
What?
On the online mail.
On the online mail.
Right?
All the kids are using the online mail.
The online
Jesus.
mail. And you call yourself a technology guy.
Pete, do you still hate Animal Crossing?
Listen, I don't actually hate Animal Crossing. I just don't understand the hype behind it. I'm not the type of person that's going to run out and do that.
But do you get it now, having seen the hamster neighbors that kind of look like guinea pigs? You get it now?
I kind of get it. All
right, because they're adorable. Tell me no.
I do. But I also like I was telling you guys before, I am a little salty about Animal Crossing because of PAX East, because they tried to detain us during press hour. So I am a little salty about that whole situation. And I will give an A+ to whoever that woman was with us that smacked the railing and said, "You can't hold me here," and walked out. Like, I commend her for that. So that was one of the funniest things.
I have seen multiple people on Twitter. Just one last note on Animal Crossing, and then we can talk about whatever else you want to talk about. I have seen multiple people, like on Twitter and Discord, try to strategically arrange because you don't really get to pick like who moves into your town. Like, they'll come by and they'll camp out and say, maybe I should move in. Or you can go to other people's islands, or like other random islands in the game that are like randomly generated. And like invite people to come back to your island and move there full time. And I've seen people that have like full islands full of cats, or like full of birds, or full of, dogs or bears or whatever. Like, people love their animals. So I'm just saying, if you're really, you're like the foremost guinea pig guy I know. If you were really about it, then you would get Animal Crossing and give yourself the whole island full with them. But until that day comes, I question your
maybe I'll get my wife a Switch for the summertime when she has off, and then I will get Animal Crossing, and then we can play together.
Love it.
That's the only way I'll get it.
GoFundSnowdog.com.
Yes.
Get the man a Switch.
Snowdog.tv. Go ahead. You can go right there and sub. So that's good. You definitely derailed it because you lost my train of thought. So, MJ, do you have any questions for Papa Dom?
I do not.
You don't have any questions? You think of one. I want you to think of one.
Well, come back to me.
Come back. All right, I'll come back to you. Elle, how about you?
Did you already ask, like, I guess, what was like your favorite game as a kid? Like, what drew you in to like gaming?
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah, I can field that one.
There you go.
Give me 1 second right here. Hold on.
He's gonna pull it out. I know exactly which one it is because I'd assume you're gonna pull out Mario and the 7 Stars.
Super Mario RPG and the Legend of the 7 Stars for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This was the first game that I ever beat as a kid, and this was the Like, I mean, I was probably, man, I mean, I had to have been 8 or 9. And this was the first game where I ever got to like the end screen and I did not understand what was going on. Like, I will never forget it for as long as I live. I beat the final boss. I remember this ice cream place too, because my parents took me there afterwards. They're like, we're going out for ice cream. Let's go. And I was like, all right, let's, whatever. And so I was afraid to shut off the Nintendo because I was afraid that I would lose everything. And there was credits. There's like a big parade at the end. The credits roll and then it says game over at the end. And game over for me had only had the connotation. I've only seen a couple of games that have said that. Like when you beat it, it was like, thanks for playing, game over. The game has ended. And I did not, this concept did not process in my little 7 or 8 year old brain. We went off ice cream, came all the way back. TV was still on. Game over screen is still there. I was like, okay. So I hit A and went back to the save screen, fired up the thing again, and I'm standing right outside the final boss room. And I was like, wait a minute, that's it? Like, that's game's end? And it just blew my little mind. So this game, I have been lobbying for Nintendo to acknowledge it. And I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. It could be a remake. It could be like a remaster. It could be a sequel. It could be anything more than Geno being an assist trophy in Smash. Give me a break, okay? This game is fantastic. It was a collaboration between Nintendo and Squaresoft at the time, now Square Enix.
Squaresoft, yep.
You think about your all-time dream teams. You have Jordan and Pippen, okay? You have Lil Wayne and Birdman on Like Father, Like Son. You have, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. And then you have Nintendo and Squaresoft on this beauty of a classic of a game. And this game changed who I was forever. And this is why I'm still into role-playing games to this day. This is why I still have such a love for Nintendo in my heart. And this is why I have trust issues, because I got to that end screen and there was nothing after it. Yeah. So the moral of the story, kids, is always expect more. Okay. And this is where we're at right now. This is why I still have a copy of it. This is why I still keep it literally at arm's length at all times, because the game is a goddamn classic. And this is the game that I grew up with.
Do you still have a Super Nintendo that works?
It's right next to it. It's exactly right. It's right there.
My wife is addicted to Earthbound, and I wanted to surprise her one year and get her Earthbound, and I could not find a working copy. The one where that's a lie. I found a working copy, but it was $400, and I was like, "I love you, hon, but here's an emulator because I'm not doing $400 for Earthbound." But Mario, that version of Mario of the 7 stars, I never played it because I never owned a Super Nintendo. But I had a friend that owned it, and every time I went over his house, I ended up playing it. And the quality of it is, it's one of those games you never expected, and it was beautiful. Beautiful. Did you play? What was the game? Was it not Mario versus Rabbids?
There was
the Ubisoft game. It just came.
Yeah. Mario versus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It was like kind of like the XCOM type gameplay. I did not play that, but I mean, I would play it. I mean, I just didn't want to like go out and spend $60 on it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like 10 on the eShop right now.
Now it's like $10, but it's like one of those games you never expected to want to play and enjoy, and then you play it and you're like, oh, this is way better than you expected. Like I started my RPG life experiences with Final Fantasy, the original. My brother and I literally let it sit and played and never turned it off until we beat it. Like, I was sitting, like, my brother was playing, and I had the Nintendo Power Book, flipping through page by page. This is what you gotta do next. This is what you gotta do next to beat it. Because that game sucked me in. And the RPG life, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I totally hijacked your question, Al. So, MJ, did you have your question?
Which next gen system are you gonna get? Are you gonna get them both?
I'm gonna get a Xbox probably. I'm an Xbox guy. I've never been a PlayStation guy. I had a PS3. That's the only PlayStation console that I've ever owned. But as I have said multiple times on our show, I was the kid in like middle school who was like, dude, why do I need Grand Theft Auto 3 when I can play Super Mario Sunshine on my Nintendo GameCube? Okay. I was playing Animal Crossing, I was playing Luigi's Mansion, you know what I mean? So, and I always went over to like my next door neighbor's house and played the PlayStation whenever I needed that. But, yeah, I'm an Xbox guy. I will probably get a gaming PC at some point this year. That's going to be cool. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to stop being shamed by our community that I don't have one, but I am looking forward to getting an Xbox. I think that'll be really cool. And I haven't gotten like a new console in probably about 5 years. I still have a launch model Xbox One in my living room. Life's been moving pretty quick over the last couple of years. We got married. We started looking for a house. So that has not been in the budget plan, just like a Switch is not in Snaldo's budget plan right now, until now that he knows. But yeah, it's going to be an Xbox.
It's funny how you say you have one of the OG Xbox Ones, like the first, because I have the same one, and the only reason why I booted it up was I played Division 1 on it, and then I played a little bit of Division 2 on it. And then after that, I haven't booted it up since. Yeah,
I've said this for like probably about 2 years now. Whatever piece of hardware is going to provide me the best experience to play Halo Infinite on is what I'm going to purchase.
Is that what you kind of mostly are anticipating? Like, is that the game you're anticipating to play the most right now?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Is that how you feel, El?
No. I mean, like, I'm going to play Halo, but I'm not one of those diehard fans. Like, I know so many are out there,
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, like, I definitely want to play Infinite right when it comes out. And if it launches on the same day as the Xbox, it's going to force my hand. But there's just nothing. And like, Halo for me probably hasn't been like a console seller since like Halo 3. But there's also just nothing on the other side that kind of sway me away from it. I was even considering potentially getting a PC, and because I'm sure that Infinite is going to be on PC as well, or just playing that with a controller because I prefer controller to mouse and keyboard. Another thing that people just put me up on the cross for, but that's just what I prefer. But I want to be able to play with my boys. I want to be able to play with my brother, who I've been playing Halo with since he was like old enough to even hold a controller and know what colors or buttons were what. So as long as I can do that, and if I can do that on PC, great. Because if I can play with like Xbox friends, that would be fine. But yeah, whatever's gonna be the best Halo Infinite experience is what I will be acquiring this holiday season.
I actually got two questions for you. I just thought of a really interesting one. Do you end up co-op gaming at all with your missus?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. She likes platformers. Like we beat Donkey Kong Country Returns on a Nintendo Switch. Another great reason to buy that console. Great game, great port. We played through that. She really liked that. So, we like the co-op platformers. I'm trying to get her to play Cuphead with me right now, and see how we do with that. But
good luck on that.
Yeah, that game looks like really
getting a divorce.
Yeah, so I don't know if I want to do that because luckily in Donkey Kong you can like literally carry the other person. So if there's
literally makes it harder if you add another person.
All right, yeah, so we're not going to be doing that then, because I'm not really trying to get divorced right now. But yeah, the co-op games are cool. That's like the only game that I've ever came home to like walk in on her playing like on her own without me being like, hey, do you want to play this game? So she's not like a huge gamer, but yeah, platformers and stuff. Like we played Little Big Planet and stuff when that was on PS3. The Mario co-op game she digs. So all the classics really.
Should I ever play Ori?
Yeah? Is Ori co-op?
Or
it's not co-op, I don't think, but you can do like speed trials against each other, and then it's just like a good story. Like I know
I've been meaning to play it.
Or I've heard nothing.
I saw the trailer. The trailer for the sequel looks absolutely beautiful, so I really want to. I think the first one's still on Game Pass too, so I'm like,
both are on Game Pass.
What I laugh about all the time is how people are amazed that the development studio that made Ori, they don't have an actual studio. all of them work from home, and then they just mail like everything to one person, or they're all collaborative in one way, and they've produced all of their games that way, which is pretty damn amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ori looks absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna make some time and play that.
So, okay, well, we're gonna end up, ending up what we're gonna do here. So, Dom, why don't you kind of tell us where we can end up finding you, and tell us everything about you.
Pete, absolutely. I would love to do that. As you may have already heard, this is me. My name is Dom. You know me as Papa Dom if you listen to the podcast, or Uncle Dommy, whatever you think, whatever comes to mind. The Turnip Whisperer. You can find me on Twitter at Uncle Dommy. It's at Uncle Dommy. It's pretty easy. You can find us, Wicked Good Gaming, on Twitter at Wicked Good Games. WickedGoodGaming.com if you want that premium, handcrafted, written content. We get new blogs every single day for the last 4 years. So you're going to find something good on there every time you go on. And if you want to find the podcast, it is called Not Another Gaming Podcast. We have just passed our 3-year anniversary. Episode 176 is coming at you this week. And that is going to be, as always, over at twitch.tv/wickedgoodgaming. Not Another Gaming Podcast every single Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, PM. And you can find us also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Overcast, and now radio.com and iHeartRadio. So you can check us out on all those platforms, wherever you find podcasts, Not Another Gaming Podcast, and wickedgoodgaming.com. And thank you guys for having me on.
Well, thank you very much for stopping in. We'll probably be seeing you in a couple more weeks. And I will tell everyone, you have to go listen to these guys. It is funny, the group collaboration and the camaraderie between all of them. It's great and it's funny. And you should definitely go and hear them. MJ, where can we find you, good sir?
Find me on Twitter at BeattyMJ. Same thing as Instagram. My Twitch is MJ is a Boss. My Snapchat is Beat101. And you can also find me on lordsgaming.net. My, PlayStation Plus, free games of the month, and Xbox Live games with the gold. The best articles on Lords of Gaming. You can ask Dizzy in the chat over there. He knows.
We all know. Well, thank you very much, good sir. Elle, what about you? Where can we find you?
I am on Mixer Tuesday through Friday, either from 7 to 8, as usually when I start, and I go to about 10. And then on Saturdays, I'll go with gaming on YouTube. Of course, Monday here. And I forgot to tell you, but I'm now a member of the Cookout. So, yeah.
What is the Cookout?
It's just like a community group for people of color type of thing. And all kind of content creators, artists, people to play video games, people that cook, like do all kind of stuff. But like they started mainly on Twitch, and now they're branching out to like Mixer people too.
Oh, excellent! That's very cool. I like that. I like how they're doing that.
Yeah,
very neat.
It's like a networking thing,
Yeah, it's cool. We need more of those. We need to get more of those going here too. So
yeah.
And everyone knows myself. I'm Snaldo, SNALYDO. You can catch me on everything, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Go check out my Twitch. We got a really, really nice subscriber giveaway going on right now. My community actually gave it up to us. So go check us out that time. We're usually between 7 and 10 Monday to Friday, except for when we're here. Say thank you very much there. And I also want to say thank you, Papa Dom, for coming in today and hanging out. And like I said earlier in the show, we're going to be getting, your other crew members in here for the rest of the week. And then all of you guys together at the end of the, after we get everyone together. And like I said before, we're going to have this up on Wednesday morning. Thank you, everybody, on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, stuff like that. If anyone has a question for any of the people that are coming on, please email us at roundtablestreamteam@gmail.com. I check it very often. And remember to follow us on TableStream. the Roundtable with the Stream Team was way too long for Twitter. It did not like that. And make sure you guys are checking out the Iron Lords podcast at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and check out all of our articles at lordsofgaming.net for more news. And make sure you guys keep an eye on our Twitter for when we're going live, who's going to be coming on, all that fun stuff. All right, and thank you, everyone, and remember to dream big and keep gaming, and we will see everyone next week. Everyone, bye. Thanks again.